6,765 pounds, the 293 L-shaped quad bunkhouse here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan, coming to us from the Catalina family. What's kind of cool here, they've utilized a low-profile outside kitchen to maintain 4 individual sleeping spaces, and depending on how you stack them up, this is a quad bunkhouse that might actually sleep 5. As far as travel accessibility, it's not necessarily this floor plan's strong suit. I've got the super slide closed right now, and you can very clearly see the dinette and the bathroom are like, nuh-uh, man, you ain't getting through here. Red Rover said nobody over. But you can get through all the kitchen-y stuff here, which is pretty cool. So if you do need to stop, and you got to feed the little monsters that you love so much, you do have the ability to do that here. But you're not really getting this one, I think, for the ability to travel with it. You're getting it for what it does at your destination. And there's one major thing with 2 major influences that always strikes me every time I hop inside one of these Catalinas. It just feels big and open and airy and comfortable. You know, it's very welcoming. You don't feel like you're shoved into a box or anything like that. And it's for 2 primary factors, I think. First is that this does have a 6'9" interior height, floor-to-ceiling panel with a linear clearance, meaning it's a flat interior roof, although it is vaulted outside. You can walk all over it. Taller sidewalls, a 6'9" sidewall means we can have bigger kitchen cabinets, we can have a taller shower, more headroom for the bunks, versus a 6.5-foot wall with a vaulted ceiling, if vaulted at all. So it always looks and feels really good in here. Secondly is the light sort of decor. That lighter wood tone that they have going on in here, again, makes everything just feel a little bit more open and welcoming. And this is really just a textbook example, this brand, of saying, what is everything that is really critical? Let's go ahead and nail that. What are the things we're going to do every day? And let's do those. Not necessarily what is all the fancy jazz that we could do, but what's the stuff that really matters? Like, you see countertops like this that Coachmen's been using for so long. A sealed edge countertop. You see a little waterfall taper. There's no T-molding. Well, it's nice that they do that. And a lot of brands do that now. But you'll notice that the Catalinas do it all over the place. That's a quality also shared with our Cherokee family RVs here. They do a sealed edge countertop everywhere, not just in one spot. And if there's one thing I feel Coachmen does better than just about anybody else, it is storage. They know how to do storage. You can see how you have doors for that dinette right there. You have that central linen pantry closet behind that sliding bunkhouse privacy door. We'll come back and look at all the kitchen stuff in just a second, but as long as I'm standing here, there's 2 things I want to point out. First is the fact that you do have the ability to upgrade to the optional 15,000 BTU central air conditioner as compared to a conventional 13.5. It's one of those things, it costs very little to do, and the difference in airflow output is pretty substantial. Another thing that's very easy to miss, especially due to the taller ceiling height in here, is the fact that this has a 17% larger refrigerator versus a conventional 6 cubic foot. That is a 7 cubic foot fridge freezer. It's not very obvious, and when you open the door, you see the same number of shelves, which is why a lot of people miss it. Each shelf is a little bit bigger, a little bit taller. So you ever try to like put a jug of milk or a 2-liter of soda or pop or Coke or whatever you call it where you're from? It's nice to have that extra space right there. Now, bathroom is pretty conventional, you know, but effective. It gets the job done. You've got a traditional RV tub shower combo, but we do have surround paneling here. And remember that this is 6'9" tall. So where that really matters is when a big old nerd like me goes camping and I want to get in the shower, I don't have to have my head in the bubble. There's still clearance up here before we get to that. So that's one of the things that we really like to do also, is offer just a substantial selection and variety of products here at Haylett RV, and they all have their little qualities. They all have things they do better than someone else. Like, I like the huge medicine cabinet vanity combo they have going on in here. I like the fact that this is a sliding door, not a curtain to the bunkhouse with a private bedroom. A lot of RVs will get away with doing that. But what I like is this back here. As compared to a traditional quad bunk, which is where the bunks run north-south, they have an L bunkhouse. But what that creates across the top here is an 8-foot long bunk, So if you've got a kid who's going to be like a power forward for the New York Knicks or Chicago Bulls, or insert your own favorite team here, I don't care. You get the point. You've got a bigger bed. Meanwhile, you still have a pair of traditionally sized bunks over here, or if you have smaller kids, you can easily fit 3 in here. But one of the things that's really awesome is something that's easy to miss, and that is this separate bunk bed right there. A lot of times when you get an outside kitchen, which is what's under here, you will lose the lower bunk because manufacturers will give you a taller outside kitchen, and there are benefits to it, but you do lose a sleeping space. Now we always have at least 1, 2, 3, 4 beds. But what if you got a tall kid and that whole thing is occupied by one, and you're not going to try to squeeze a little kid up here? That is where these little, I like to call them converter cubes, come into place, because they can only be and do anything you want. And I specifically wanted to fold one out and leave one closed so you can see how you can flip these around independently. You can do whatever you want with them. So down here you could easily sleep one kid or have room for 2 on the floor. Plus you have a dedicated bunk here. Potential bunk up there, 1 or 2, you know, depending on how long the kid is on top. This is how I was saying this is a quad bunkhouse that could potentially sleep 5. You could, in theory, have 5 individual bodies back here having their own private sleeping, well, independent sleeping spaces. Not private, because you're sharing a room and breathing each other's air. And that's all cool. I mean, it's really cool. But when we flip around the other way back here in the bunkhouse, this is what that little converter cube sofa the bunks are looking at. It's a neat little corner entertainment for the kids. You've got some great dresser space here for the kids as well. And what is nice is all this construction, all the cabinetry is all pocket screwed with hardwood cabinet door frames. And if you don't know what that means, guys, it means in English, it's going to hold together. Also, though, you have dedicated hanging space here for the kiddos. And that is something most bunkhouses are just painfully lacking in. Very few bunkhouses have good space for those kiddos. Now, we can fold down that sofa. We can fold down the dinette into additional sleeping spaces. And what's nice is this is a true U-dinette. It's 7 foot long, 44 inches deep. You can sleep adults on there. And that is just a simple little bifold sofa. But it does have storage below it, which is pretty cool. But why am I talking about this when we could just look at it? And I think I might have referred to this as a bifold a second ago. This is obviously a full trifold sleeper sofa hide-a-bed. But what is kind of cool is there is still a storage pocket below the, I guess you call it like the headboard area. So you do have a place for extra linens and whatnot down there. But over here you got your big full-size dinette. And what's cool about this is you've got that like 8 foot wide rear bed. Here we've got a 7 foot long bed. Over here we have a bed that's a normal, like, Camp Queen in length, about 74 inches, but if you had to, your feet could hang off. It's a bunkhouse that actually has good adult guest capacity, not just, you know, little kiddos. But remember when I said these guys no storage? That's something I think Coachmen gets better than a lot of brands. They know how to pack this sucker up. So we've got 3-inch taller cabinets, whose capacity has been doubled by adding a shelf to that overhead right there. And now everything's a little bit bigger. And this is really cool what they did here. As opposed to a bedroom, which has what I call an island entertainment center, where the TV's dead in the middle and you walk into the bed on both sides, they went with a private bedroom. And that allowed them to get rid of one of the bedroom doors, which allowed them to add a 6'9" floor-to-ceiling additional mini pantry, which is cool. Now you might notice the TV is normally at what I call a 90-degree neck wrecker, but Coachmen thought of that. The Catalina brand is on the ball, and they're actually installing a swing-out bracket, so you don't have to wreck your neck to catch a little bit of TV. Very handy if you just need to get the kids to slow down to eat something, you know? DVD, Bluetooth, stereo below, electric space heating. Fireplace is an optional piece of equipment that we like to add into these. It just really helps jazz it up a little bit, and it gives you a bonus heater that doesn't eat up your propane, which is kind of cool. Now, over here in the kitchen, you see full extension plywood drawers. And I love what they do in the top drawer. They segment it so you actually have sort of like a built-in utensil drawer, which is a nice touch. Now, we talked about the sealed edge counters earlier when we were talking about the living room area, but what's cool here is they give you the ability to add these optional sink covers, and they're made with the exact same material as the countertop itself. They're counter flush, they're matching, and that, when used in conjunction with that stovetop right there, gives us really the most prep space this little thing could have. And then there's the little detail features. There's the fact that the window shade string that always hangs down in every camper. Catalina is one of those brands that never stopped giving us a little anchor point to tie that thing down so that that string's not dangling all over the counter or maybe getting a little bit too close to a fire source. I wonder where one of those could be located in nearby proximity. We also have upgraded kitchen hardware in the kitchen of these Catalinas as compared to the SBX or Summit Little Brothers. And the Easy Reach appliance outlets right here, because I swear, appliances are coming with shorter and shorter and shorter cords. I have seen some that have cords that are less than 12 inches long now. It's getting ridiculous. And from there, we head up to the bedroom. I do want to give you just a quick glance at everything all closed up nicely, though, since you've only really seen it blown apart. The bedroom is simple, but effective. I like the privacy that it garners here with just a simple door. And you will find both sides of the bed have a full closet and overhead cabinet, not just an overhead shelf. Both sides of the bed are nice and wide open, so if you're a little bit claustrophobic, you don't want to feel like you're climbing into a coffin bed or something like that, or if you're like me, if you always, I like to have an arm that hangs off the bed sometimes, you know, or a leg or whatever, you have plenty of room to do that. There is storage below, and one of my other favorite features here, in the bedroom of all of these Catalinas, any private bedroom, they have a switch as you walk in for that overhead ceiling light. It's not a major thing, you know, it's not like it's hard to reach up here and click it on and off, at least for me. I'm a tall person. You saw me stand in that shower. My wife is not as tall as me. She is, we will say, gravity friendly. And that would be hard for her to reach. But you know what? A little kid can reach that if they need to, although you might want to leave it off because the last thing you want is a kid flickering that thing on and off nonstop while you're trying to sleep. I will say I am personally a fan of the color palette they have going on here. It looks sharp, it looks modern, it always looks really good in high contrast against really whatever's behind it, whether it's greenery or brownery and overcastery like it is today. We've got that extra thick aluminum nose sweep. A lot of brands have that, but some still don't, so I still like to point it out. It is a 0.04 inch thickness aluminum up front. It's fully painted. You notice your sidewall aluminum's all painted. And that's the funny thing, is that in big fiberglass, fifth wheels, whatever, people pay, oh my God, $5,000 to $7,000 to $8,000+ for a full body paint package that this RV basically already has. Really think about that. Think about the extra resistance to the sun and everything that you're going to enjoy here. Up front, we've got a power tongue jack to go along with that power awning. Plenty of room for extra batteries. These all have enclosed underbellies to give you that extra protection from, you know, if it's going to just dip below freezing, you'll be okay. This is not some kind of super cold rated RV or anything like that. I do like the very tinted windows, though. That is something that in this class and category, it's about 50-50. A window tint makes the RV maybe look a little bit darker inside, but it also keeps a lot of that sun out of the RV to keep this thing nice and cool. And over here, they've got this centralized hookup station, which is just something Coachmen does very well. You can see RVs like this one that, you know, people who actually camp put their brains into this thing, not just like an engineer. Nothing wrong with engineers, but there is no better substitute than practical experience, guys. And that's where little things like this come from. Just this extra little mount here for the outside shower. This is such a low dollar item, but it is such a high function item. I love that they include stuff like that. Whether it's just to, you know, wash your hands, clean some fish, clean up the kiddos, or utilize, you know, maybe a little campsite cleanup courtesy station sort of thing. We can walk all over the roof of this thing. We got a 3/8 roof deck, 16-inch on center roof wall studs, 12-inch on center floor studs with a 5/8 tongue and groove plywood flooring. And that has become really the general outline for build construction within this class and category. So it's, to me, it's not so much of how it's built, it's the execution of that. It's not the playbook, it's the execution. I also like where they put that backup camera mount. It's down a little bit lower so that they could actually put a bunk window really where it belongs. And that little bit lower backup camera mount, should you choose to add one, like we have them on the shelf here at Haylett RV, if you're curious, we can just slap one on any time for folks. A little closer to the ground gives you a little clearer view, because that handheld monitor is only like the size of like a cell phone. So having it a little closer to the ground like that, for its a little better view, to me just makes a little more sense. This thing has just a feature-packed campsite over here. It starts with this low-profile outside kitchen, which again is what allows us to maintain its status as a true quad bunk, as compared to a lot of things that are often referred to as quad bunks, but are in fact triple bunks. So that fridge, in conjunction with the fridge inside, gives us about 9 cubic foot of cold storage. You see that we do have a larger sink out here with hot and cold water access, which is a neat little thing. And this grill that comes with it is a totally free-floating Coleman camp grill. It's kind of neat. It's got its own little grill garage up here. I like that. Grill garage. Just kind of came up with that. Pretty cool. And hey, handy outlets. You want an extra place for phone chargers or run a little air compressor or something for the kids, you know, inflatable things? Well, you got that too. Power awning, and I've noticed this is a little bit of a higher velocity power awning. It's nice that it moves quicker. The more time you spend camping and the less time you spend setting up, I think the happier you're going to be. And it sets off what they call the Catalina Starlight system. Starts with that LED light package under the awning, which is mirrored behind those speakers. And as we come down past the aluminum fender trim skirt, you see that we also have door side ground effects here, which just a neat little accent note I've not seen other brands do. Now that fender trim is something I want to talk about, because at a glance, like, it's very eye-catchy, it looks sharp. Well, you know what I like about it? It's about as close to bulletproof and failure-proof as something can get. Most RVs, if they have any fender skirting, it's plastic. And it looks pretty. It's not expensive. Plastic skirting is going to be less expensive, but it can be subject to fading over time or wind buffeting, rattling from whipping down the road. That stuff's never going to fail. Unless you smash it with something, it's always going to look exactly like it does, which I think is a really smart thing that they did here. We do have simple outside TV hookups, and we do like to add the optional stable step system to these big Catalinas here. You got the Extendo Fido jobs at the bottom to make this thing marry up with just about any campsite. I like the larger top plank for, you know, it gives you a little bit more space. You know what this is really nice for? Let's say you, like my grandmother, she's got a bad knee. Well, she's had 2 knee replacements, and one of them probably needs redone at this stage. But she likes to go down steps backwards and hold on to that extra large door handle right there. This is very nice for her to actually have a more sturdy place to do that thing where they take 1 step down, turn around, and then does the rest of the steps backwards. That's just something I think about when I just imagine my grandma camping, because camping with my grandparents growing up, that's kind of the heart and soul of my history in this business. That's where I got my sort of camping start, I guess you could say. And a large pass-through storage compartment with a bigger, wider, I think it's technically 29.5 inch wide, but 30 inch wide entry door to get in and out of that thing. Simple and easy. This, oh, you know, tiny little details make the big, big differences. And they're not the only ones to do this, but isn't it nice that they're actually giving us that quick extension drop foot on the power jack here? That can save you a lot of time pushing that power jack button. Although I will tell you, the shorter you keep that, you know, the extension there, the happier you're going to be. Oh, as I back up, a magic trick just happened. A man appeared in the back there. That's Mr. Jody Van Loo. He's one of our quality inspection agents. You might notice how this RV is actually still attached to the RV delivery driver's truck right now. Well, before we even accept something here at Haylett RV, we go through it. We perform a surface level inspection to make sure everything looks on the up and up. And then we pull it into the shop and do full burns on everything so that you're not inheriting someone else's problems. And we do this on literally every new RV at Haylett RV. It has made us not the most popular among some manufacturers' warranty departments, but we don't take what we feel are Monday or Friday RVs at Haylett RV. Nobody's perfect, but we sure do. I see Jody laughing back there because that's exactly how we describe it. No Mondays, no Friday campers at Haylett RV. So guys, whether it's inspecting a good quality product, hitching pieces, parts, trades, finance, truck and trailer package deals, RV delivery, and everything between, the only thing we don't do is hidden dealer fees. I guess you can't win them all. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.